Hey, this is Nerion, and welcome to a new Let's Play for Dagon. This game was featured on my game review series, First Take, and now the full game has released. It released on the 24th of September. It's not a super long game, approximately about an hour, so just going to do a straight full playthrough. And despite it being a single player game, we are blessed with the company of Mycelial Matt, who joined us for the review. Welcome, Mycelial Matt.
Thank you, kind sir.
It's great to have you back and to join us for the click through the adventure.
It's good to be here.
I am writing this under an appreciable mental strain, since by tonight I shall be no more.
Oh, okay. Oh wow, they got all these tooltips now. They didn't. During the game, you'll encounter interactive elements. Some of them will allow you to continue your journey. Others reveal interesting facts about the original short story, its historical background, and the author. Oh, okay. Well, this is good. This is good for them to have, actually, because it didn't include this in the demo, so that's good. Some of the trivia is hidden. In order to find these secrets, focus your eyes and look for the Elder sign. Ooh, that's new. That wasn't in the demo. You can also access all the found facts later. They will be available in the main menu. Okay, I think that one progresses the scene, right? So
I feel already like there's a lot more detail.
yeah.
Like I don't remember the walls being so dilapidated. That floor.
Oh, interesting. That's cool. I don't think there's anything else for us to find in this room, though. Or I can't turn back any further than this, so.
Penniless, and at the end of my supply of the drug which alone makes life endurable, I can bear the torture no longer, and shall cast myself from this garret window into the squalid street below.
Ah, yes.
Do not think from my slavery to morphine that I am a weakling or a degenerate. When you have read these hastily scrawled pages, you may guess, though never fully realize, why it is that I must have forgetfulness or death.
Zooming in to look for hidden clues. There's a question mark. Oh.
Damn son.
Yeah. Hitting up with those facts.
It was in one of the most open and least frequented parts of the broad Pacific that the packet of which I was supercargo fell a victim to the German sea raider.
Oh no. Can I move? No, I can't. So they didn't add moving around, it's still just a look. Anything in the stars? That seems like it would be very Lovecraft to add something to the sky. Oh, there you go.
The Great War was then at its very beginning, and the ocean forces of the Hun had not completely sunk to their later degradation, so that our vessel was made a legitimate prize, whilst we of her crew were treated with all the fairness and consideration due us as naval prisoners.
I think this bit is new, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, he's moving.
So liberal, indeed, was the discipline of our captors, that 5 days after we were taken, I managed to escape alone in a small boat with water and provisions for a good length of time.
Shitty captors.
Yeah. Oh, can't. Very restricted looking around here, so it's just this, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be much walking around.
When I finally found myself adrift and free, I had but little idea of my surroundings. Never a competent navigator, I could only guess vaguely by the sun and stars that I was somewhat south of the equator. Of the longitude, I knew nothing, and no island or coastline was in sight.
Okay. Anything in the stars? That continues it.
Anything in the boat?
Don't see anything. Nope, I don't think there is anything here. I'd say, I think if there was, it probably would be in the sky at this point, probably.
The weather kept fair, and for uncounted days I drifted aimlessly beneath the scorching sun, waiting either for some passing ship or to be cast on the shores of some habitable land.
Imagine if he didn't.
I don't want to.
But neither ship nor land appeared, and I began to despair in my solitude upon the heaving vastness of unbroken blue. The change happened whilst I slept. Its details I shall never know.
Oh.
For my slumber, though troubled and dream-infested, was continuous.
Oh.
Oh, this is way different.
There's a lot more stuff.
Yeah. But
Guess it's just this one.
that big tentacly thing is just kind of pulsing in and out of that hole, huh?
Yeah. There's loads of them this time. There was only, I think, a few that in the demo.
That one
When
over
at
there,
last
its
I
tentacles
awoke,
are doing
it
something
was to discover
more
myself
grabby
half
off
sucked
to the
into a
left.
slimy expanse of hellish black mire, which extended about me in monotonous undulations as far as I could see.
So
Sorry, go ahead.
I don't want to speak over the narration. I remember like the mud and the reflection and all that is still on point. There's more creatures like we had actually recommended. There just needed to be more. I still think there could be even more, just like just dead fish and whatever, not everywhere, but this is a vast improvement.
Yeah, definitely. Gotta love the use of vocabulary. Monotonous undulations.
Undulation is an excellent word.
And in which my boat lay grounded some distance away.
Love this. Now that I know he does voice for Gandalf, I can't unhear it.
Though one might well imagine that my first sensation would be of wonder at so prodigious and unexpected a transformation of scenery, I was in reality more horrified than astonished.
I mean, I would be too.
The region was putrid with the carcasses of decaying fish and of other, less describable things which I saw protruding from the nasty mud of the unending plain.
Oh. So, although you can't control the movement, like when you continue on, he moves sometimes, which gives you that perception of movement, which is nice.
Yeah. I still think being able to walk around would have been neat.
Yeah. I can't see anything else I can interact with.
Perhaps I should not hope to convey in mere words the unutterable hideousness that can dwell in absolute silence and barren immensity.
Ooh.
There was nothing within hearing and nothing in sight save a vast reach of black slime. Yet the very completeness of the stillness and the homogeneity of the landscape oppressed me with a nauseating fear. The sun was blazing down from a sky which seemed to me almost black in its cloudless cruelty, as though reflecting the inky marsh beneath my feet.
Still can't move. Anything? Any secrets? Oh, lovely.
As I crawled into the stranded boat, I realized that only one theory could explain my position.
What's that? That's a big thing that's moving.
It's a writhing mass.
Through some unprecedented volcanic upheaval, a portion of the ocean floor must have been thrown to the surface, exposing regions for which innumerable millions of years had lain hidden under unfathomable watery depths.
Yes, that's the logic behind it.
So great was the extent of the new land which had risen beneath me that I could not detect the faintest noise of the surging ocean, straining my ears as I might. Nor were there any seafowl to prey upon the dead things.
Yeah.
For several hours I sat thinking or brooding in the boat, which lay upon its side and afforded a slight shade as the sun moved across the heavens. As the day progressed, the ground lost some of its stickiness and seemed likely to dry sufficiently for traveling purposes in a short time. That night I slept but little, and the next day I made for myself a pack containing food and water, preparatory to an overland journey in search of the vanished sea and possible rescue.
Nope, no secrets.
On the third morning, I found the soil dry enough to walk upon with ease. The odor of the fish was maddening, but I was too much concerned with graver things to mind so slight an evil, and set out boldly for an unknown goal.
Any more secrets?
All day I forged steadily westward, guided by a faraway hummock which rose higher than any other elevation on the rolling desert.
A new area. So now we're past the demo portion.
Yes. Look at that thing. Yeah.
That's pretty. Looking for something else to interact with, but nope.
Whale.
He's having a whale of a time.
That night, I encamped, and on the following day still traveled toward the hummock, though that object seemed scarcely nearer than when I had first espied it.
Have I missed a sign? Because I feel like... Oh, there we go. Some of them do have... Like, some of them do look pretty funky. Like, you'd think you... I don't know if you've watched a lot of, like, documentaries on, like, sea life.
I have. Yeah, the deeper you go, the weirder shit gets.
Yeah. So maybe Cthulhu is down there somewhere.
Could be. Just giggling away at us.
Yeah. You fools. You thought that was fiction?
By the fourth evening, I attained the base of the mound, which turned out to be much higher than it had appeared from a distance.
Well, the bass on his voice just dropped. Holy moly.
Yeah.
An intervening valley setting it out in sharper relief from the general surface.
He's turning into Captain Price. or Butcher, one of the two.
Too weary to ascend, I slept in the shadow of the hill. I know not why my dreams were so wild that night. But ere the waning and fantastically gibbous moon had risen far above the eastern plain, I was awake in a cold perspiration, determined to sleep no more. Such visions as I had experienced were too much for me to endure again. And in the glow of the moon I saw how unwise I had been to travel by day. Without the glare of the parching sun, my journey would have cost me less energy. Indeed, I now felt quite able to perform the ascent which had deterred me at sunset. Picking up my pack, I started for the crest of the eminence.
I love this guy's voice. Like, so good.
I think you would make a great voice actor.
I have said that the unbroken monotony of the rolling plain was a source of vague horror to me. But I think my horror was greater when I gained the summit of the mound and looked down the other side into an immeasurable pit or canyon.
Before I continue this, do you know if this is word for word from the book?
It's feeling like it more or less is. I mean, it's very short story, so it wouldn't take much to do it word for word. I should have picked it up and read it since we did the review, but I'm pretty sure this is going word for word. It's progressing just like I remember it.
Okay.
Whose black recesses the moon had not yet soared high enough to illumine. I felt myself on the edge of the world, peering over the rim into a fathomless chaos of eternal night.
What?
Through my terror ran curious reminiscences of Paradise Lost, and of Satan's hideous climb through the unfashioned realms of darkness. As the moon climbed higher in the sky, I began to see that the slopes of the valley were not quite so perpendicular as I had imagined.
Okay.
Ledges and outcroppings of rock afforded fairly easy footholds for a descent, whilst after a drop of only a few hundred feet, the declivity became very gradual.
The declivity. Wow. Love it. Love it. Okay. Is there
Good
any...
words.
Yeah, the vocabulary is really good.
Urged on by an impulse which I cannot definitely analyze, I scrambled with difficulty down the rocks and stood on the gentler slope beneath, gazing into the Stygian deeps where no light had yet penetrated. All at once, my attention was captured by a vast and singular object on the opposite slope, which rose steeply about 100 yards ahead of me. An object that gleamed whitely in the newly bestowed rays of the ascending moon.
Oh, what's this thing called? I know what it's called. It's monolith?
Yeah.
There's quite a few stories in Lovecraft and even the game we play, with monolith being a central part of the story. Okay. No secrets. No secrets. No secrets. Okay.
That it was merely a gigantic piece of stone, I soon assured myself. But I was conscious of a distinct impression that its contour and position were not altogether the work of nature.
Wonder what gave that away.
Nature does not work in straight lines.
A closer scrutiny filled me with sensations I cannot express.
Let's continue. Elder sign, elder sign. Nope.
For despite its enormous magnitude and its position in an abyss which had yawned at the bottom of the sea since the world was young, I perceived beyond a doubt that the strange object was a well-shaped monolith.
Whoa!
Whose massive bulk had known the workmanship and perhaps the worship of living and thinking creatures.
Spooky.
Dazed and frightened, yet not without a certain thrill of the scientist's or archaeologist's delight, I examined my surroundings more closely.
Oh. I should examine the surroundings more closely. Still no more signs, okay.
The moon, now near the zenith, shone weirdly and vividly above the towering steeps that hemmed in the chasm, and revealed the fact that a far-flung body of water flowed at the bottom, winding out of sight in both directions and almost lapping my feet as I stood on the slope. Across the chasm, the wavelets washed the base of the Cyclopean monolith.
Cyclopean monolith.
That's beautiful language, use of language.
On whose surface I could now trace both inscriptions and crude sculptures.
So in the graphic novel version, the monolith was very intricately carved. It was in more like a cave or an alcove setting.
Okay.
And it had all sorts of carvings, engravings, depictions of tentacle, the usual stuff.
Yeah.
This is definitely not like anything I've imagined before in a Cthulhu setting, to where it's literally the plain monolith, and it looks like that's just like, I don't know, embossed onto it.
Well, yeah. Like someone's drawn it on, maybe, or...
It almost looks like metal engraving. So, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, in my mind, it sparks, all right, primitive monolith, right? It's just made of stone. But the etchings on it, that's like a much higher level of technology.
Right.
Because if it was drawn on, it probably would have worn off.
The writing was in a system of hieroglyphics unknown to me and unlike anything I'd ever seen in books.
Yeah.
I think that the idea that the outer and elder gods and their followers are actually operating at a higher level of technology is something that is not explored enough, because deeper into the mythos, it's not that it's mystical and unknowable. Well, it is unknowable. It's it's just different. It's not human, therefore you cannot understand it. But it is still technologically advanced. It's not necessarily actual magic.
No, well, it's the same with, like, if you took a lighter back like 3,000 years and showed it to someone, they'd think you were like some kind of like mystic of the arts or something crazy, right?
Right.
Like you were doing like magic or something with, so anything advanced enough is going to appear to be like magic to us, right?
Yeah.
Consisting for the most part of conventionalized aquatic symbols such as fishes, eels, octopi, crustaceans, mollusks, whales, and the like. Several characters obviously represented marine things which are unknown to the modern world. But whose decomposing forms I had observed on the ocean-risen plain. It was the pictorial carving, however, that did most to hold me spellbound.
Storytelling methods. Dagon contains many themes and storytelling methods that Lovecraft developed in his later works, such as telling the story through carvings, journals and characters' notes, islands emerging from the ocean, or fictional beings and deities based on real events and mythologies. It's also considered the origin of the popular Cthulhu mythos. Some of Lovecraft's other stories also conclude in a manner similar to Dagon, but let's skip the details in order not to spoil the ending.
Plainly visible across the intervening water on account of their enormous size were an array of bas-reliefs whose subjects would have excited the envy of a doré. I think that these things were supposed to depict men, at least a certain sort of men. though the creatures were shown disporting like fishes in the waters of some marine grotto, or paying homage at some monolithic shrine which appeared to be under the waves as well. Of their faces and forms I dare not speak in detail, for the mere remembrance makes me grow faint.
I am loving the like the artwork on this.
Grotesque beyond the imagination of a Poe or a Bulwer. They were damnably human in general outline, despite webbed hands and feet, shockingly wide and flabby lips, glassy, bulging eyes, and other features less pleasant to recall. Curiously enough, they seem to have been chiseled badly out of proportion with their scenic background. For one of the creatures was shown in the act of killing a whale, represented as but little larger than himself. I remarked, as I say, their grotesqueness and strange size, but in a moment decided that they were merely the imaginary gods of some primitive fishing or seafaring tribe. Some tribe whose last descendant had perished eras before the first ancestor of the Piltdown or Neanderthal man was born.
Wow. So this is apparently chiseled into the monolith.
Doesn't look chiseled to me.
Yeah, maybe that was a little bit more difficult to get that kind of chiseled look, I guess. Honestly thought that was part of his...
How dare you?
Awestruck at this unexpected glimpse into a past beyond the conception of the most daring anthropologist, I stood musing whilst the moon cast queer reflections on the silent channel before me. Then, suddenly, I saw it.
Or what?
With only a slight churning to mark its rise to the surface, the thing slid into view above the dark waters.
What the fuck?
Polyphemus-like and loathsome,
Holy...
it darted like a stupendous monster of nightmares to the monolith.
Holy moly moly.
I wonder what Dagon's gonna look like. So this is my daughter's favorite part, is when Dagon actually shows up.
About which it flung its gigantic scaly arms, while it bowed its hideous head and gave vent to certain measured sounds. I think I went mad then. Of my frantic ascent of the slope and cliff, and of my delirious journey back to the stranded boat, I remember little.
Oh, he didn't turn around.
I believe I sang a great deal and laughed oddly when I was unable to sing.
Yeah, you're going crazy.
He lost, he failed his sanity check, everybody.
That's what that looks like. My brain's just gonna shut off and I'm gonna sing and
I
laugh.
have indistinct recollections of a great storm sometime after I reached the boat. At any rate, I know that I heard pearls of thunder and other tones which nature utters only in her wildest moods. When I came out of the shadows, I was in a San Francisco hospital. Brought thither by the captain of the American ship which had picked up my boat in mid-ocean. In my delirium, I had said much, but found that my words had been given scant attention. Of any land upheaval in the Pacific, my rescuers knew nothing. Nor did I deem it necessary to insist upon a thing which I knew they could not believe.
Well, he's in the hospital. Ooh, another one. Here's some strong views.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Once I sought out a celebrated ethnologist and amused him with peculiar questions regarding the ancient Philistine legend of Dagon, the fish god.
Good parties, I've heard. Anything else in here? It's a big room.
But soon perceiving that he was hopelessly conventional, I did not press my inquiries.
Interesting. Wow. I've learned so much today. How do I... Oh, there we go.
Fun facts.
Lots of fun facts.
I know it's these fun facts are supposed to basically give us more to do, but I don't know. I feel like they pull us out of the story a little too.
Yeah.
It is at night, especially when the moon is gibbous and waning, that I see the thing.
Oh, great.
Gibbous.
I tried morphine, but the drug has given only transient surcease and has drawn me into its clutches as a hopeless slave. So now I am to end it all, having written a full account for the information or the contemptuous amusement of my fellow men.
More information?
Often, I ask myself if it could
Do
not all
shrooms.
have been a
Leave
pure
alcohol out of it.
phantasm. A mere freak of fever as I lay sun-stricken and raving in the open
I won't
boat
blame you if you edit
after
that
my
out.
escape from the German man of war.
We'll see.
This I ask myself, but ever does there come before me a hideously vivid vision in reply. I cannot think of the deep sea without shuddering at the nameless things that may at this very moment be crawling and floundering on its slimy bed, worshipping their ancient stone idols and carving their own detestable likenesses on
Yikes.
submarine obelisks of water-soaked granite.
Okay.
I dream of a day when they may rise above the billows to drag down into their reeking talons the remnants of puny, war-exhausted mankind. Of a day when the land shall sink and the dark ocean shall ascend amidst universal pandemonium.
Okay.
The end is near. I hear a noise at the door, as of some
Oh, yeah.
immense slippery body lumbering against it.
Are there any more secrets?
I know what's on the other side of the door, Jay.
I'm sure you do. Mommy?
Is that wait. Don't click it yet. I thought, did the portrait there to the left have something on it?
I can't click that far.
Oh, you can't even go that far?
No.
Oh, it restricts your vision. That's odd.
Yeah.
It shall not find me.
The hand.
God, that hand! The window! The window!
Do I have to click the window?
That's how it ends.
No. Wait, oh wait. There was something here. Ooh. Let's go. Well, thank you for joining, sir. It's nice to have you back in another video.
Anytime, sir.
And that's Dagon. That's our playthrough. So feel free to check out other Lovecraftian games on my channel, like Call of Cthulhu, Darkwood, and other videos with myself and Matt, which includes Little Hope, Man of Medan, and we still need to continue with It Takes Two at this point in time.
It's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, want to play tug of war?
Oh, let's play tug of war. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us for this one episode playthrough of Dagon, a Lovecraft story. And once again, I've been a non-professional gamer. We'll see you very soon. And that's a wrap.
Bye.